Hi babes, welcome back to my channel, and today's video we are talking all about dating tips for feminine women. Guys, I will create some dating content for you if you guys want to see that, because I take care of my men on this channel as well. This is a channel dedicated to men, women, dating, and relationships, and creating healthy polarity. But for right now, this is another dating video for my ladies. So let's see. One of the first tips that I want to say to you is making sure to date when you are in a good place, when your heart posture is in the right place, when you are in your healed era, okay? When you are embodying in your healed energy, when you are showing up as your most true, genuine, authentic, loving self. When you are dating, when you are unhealed, this can be a very dangerous foundation to start on, because sometimes if you've been in a relationship, whether it was a long-term relationship or it was just a guy that you were really connected to, a guy that you really felt a lot of attraction for, you felt really bonded to, you've had a lot of experience with him, and you are kind of now in a place where you're separating yourself from that relationship or that person. That is very painful. And if you are just, maybe if it's been a recent occurrence, or maybe just a sudden occurrence, that things ended between you, or just something that happened abruptly and unexpectedly, that you were with him and now you are not. If you are trying to just immediately get back out there and start dating, you are unknowingly and unconsciously trying to cover up that wound instead of dealing with it. And that is not a wise foundation to begin on, okay? You also set yourself up for failure, because really, what's the point at that point? When somebody else presents themselves in front of you, as in another guy that's wanting to gain access to you, pursue you, prove his worth to you, when he is presenting himself, you won't even be able to see any of his good qualities, any qualities about him that you might like, any aligned values that you might share, any future goals that you might share with him, any love and goodness and quality that you might see in him. You won't be able to see any of that if you are still holding on energetically so tightly to the previous person, to the person that has left you wounded. You won't be able to notice those things about the guy that is now in front of you and create these new and better experiences with. It's like you will be dating with this filter and lens over your eyes, to where you can't even notice the good qualities about someone else and why you should progress forward with him if you are still holding on so tightly to the guy that is behind you. And it's very painful to go through that grief and separation of someone that you once felt a lot of love for, that you once felt maybe spiritually intertwined with or bonded to. It's very painful to go through that, but I strongly recommend that you do allow yourself to feel that pain. You allow yourself to go through the motions of grief. You allow yourself to cry, feel victimized by that situation. Allow yourself the space to self-reflect. What did you do wrong? What did he do wrong? Who were you when you met him? How have you grown since you have met him? Ask yourself these deeper questions and allow yourself to self-reflect on these very important things And this is going to help propel you in your future dating scenarios. So when you allow yourself that space to heal, and then you let the grief come up, you let the tears come out, you talk to people, you get help, you get coaching from, relationship coaches like me. You reach out, you get the help that you need in order to feel closer and not so alone. When you are making steps towards healing, you are already doing yourself a huge favor. It's just like if you break your arm, you want to get help in order to help that arm heal itself. You don't just break your arm and then just go to sleep at night without going to a professional to help you heal that, put you in a cast and help you heal that. So it's the same situation. You want to get the help that you need for healing that wound that someone has triggered within you. And then you go through the motions of that. You allow the time to pass. You allow the space to create these new memories and new neural pathways in your brain, and new experiences with other people, and energetically let go of that your old self, your old life, those old experiences with the previous person that you once felt so connected to. Am I making sense here? So I strongly suggest that you date when you are in a more healed version of yourself rather than an unhealed version of yourself. Because like I said, you won't even be able to see the qualities of that person. And then you'll be unknowingly carrying a lot of baggage onto the person that's in front of you. And it can feel very comforting in knowing that you're not alone, and, trauma dumping onto them, because it then kind of feels more relatable in that sense. If you end up attracting someone who's also unhealed and, harping on an ex and a past relationship, it can feel very comforting in that, because then you don't feel so alone and you have something to relate on. But it's not a healthy foundation to start on, because then inevitably the other person really, really suffers from that. And it's not only us, it's not just ourselves that we have to think about, but it's also the person that is in front of us. So make sure that you are in a healthy state of mind, a healthy heart posture, and can look back at the situation of why a relationship for you ended, and what you did wrong and what that other person did wrong, and allow yourself to feel victimized by it for a minute, and then approach it with more love and gratitude, as it was an experience that taught you something. It was an experience that allowed you to grow your mindset, allowed you to learn more things about yourself that you didn't necessarily know before. And even though I know that it can be really painful to separate yourself from someone who maybe you were spiritually intertwined with, maybe you were strongly emotionally bonded to, maybe you had a lot of years being intertwined with and created a lot of memories with this person, it's only natural human instinct that this person would mean a lot to you and that you wouldn't want to let go, right? Letting go is a very scary place to be, because psychologically we feel that if we let go of something or someone, then what if we can't have that again, right? That's how our psychology is built. We feel like we're not worthy of attracting something better if we do let go of someone or something of our past. Okay, tip number 2 for dating for feminine women, and that is, don't put so much of your focus onto finding the perfect man, but rather the focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Masculine energy is about outcome and achieving goals. Feminine energy is about the process and enjoying the process. When you are putting so much focus onto finding the perfect man and showing up with this extremely long standard list of things that you want the perfect guy in your mind to have, you are putting so much of your focus, you're more in your masculine state of mind because you are putting so much of your focus and energy onto him being the perfect guy for you rather than pouring into yourself, allowing yourself to become the best version of you possible in order to attract the best caliber of a man. Does that make sense? So, okay, so moving on to number 3. I could go on and on and on, but I really got to get going soon. Don't want to make this too long. But that leads me into my third point and tip is develop yourself to have skills while you are in your single season. Developing yourself to have sexual discipline, developing your skills with money and being smart and wise with money and not blowing your money, but rather investing your money into things that are going to give you a high return on your investment, a high ROI. So when you are pouring energy back into yourself and you're allowing that to elevate you and elevate how you show up, you are getting a higher return on investment because the energy that you are showing up into the world is going to reflect the kind of people that you bring and draw into your life. Okay, so as far as your skill set, finding creative ways to make money while you are single, traveling. I absolutely love traveling. Traveling is just such a great thing that you can do while you are in your single state, in your single season, while you are waiting for your husband to find you. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Let's remember that Bible verse, ladies. You're gaining so much of a more well-rounded perception of the world and of different cultures and how other people outside of your community and your culture live and do things. And it just allows you to open yourself up to new opportunities and new ways of being. And there's so much wisdom in that. There's so much to learn from that. And so I always encourage, traveling when you have the opportunities and really giving yourself that way of expanding yourself, developing yourself in a more well-rounded aspect and being smart with money. Like I said, pouring, if you spend money on yourself, that elevates you, that truly elevates your energy, whether it be going to get your hair done or whether it be investing into things that make you more money, create more abundance in your life, to where you can pour back into your family and help give to them, or spending money on your wardrobe. Like, all of this is going to give you a high ROI. And so that's why it's really wise to not just blow money on useless, mindless things that are really toxic for your health and kind of degrade your energy. Those kinds of things really can lower your value. And so anything that you spend your money on is considered an investment if it is helping to elevate you. Does that make sense? And about the sexual discipline, ladies, you cannot attract a man that has sexual discipline if you do not have sexual discipline yourself. Okay? If you believe that all men are cheaters and liars and you will sleep with any man that calls you beautiful and hot and sexy, then you can't attract a man who also, you can't attract a healthy man who also sees women as valuable and sacred, and sexuality being a sacred thing to be shared with your spouse. You can't attract that if you don't believe that for yourself, if you're not embodying in that, if you're not living and walking in that sexual discipline. So make sure you are developing yourself while you are in your single season, and then you'll begin to see that you can better attract those quality experiences and quality men and people and female friends even towards you. Okay, and the last tip that I'm going to give to you for this video is create scenarios in the beginning of your dating experiences where the men see you more as an ally and less as his competitor. What does that also mean? It means that you are creating a series of positive dating experiences, not focused so much on finding the perfect husband, not focused so much on having it all figured out and sorted out, but just enjoying in the process and relishing in the experiences of letting men pursue you, court you, conversate and get to know you better, letting men provide for you, provide experiences for you, opening yourself up to new possibilities and meeting new guys who want to actually elevate themselves to reach your standard and your energy. You want to create this series of positive dating experiences in dating multiple guys, rather than training men in your life to see you as someone who's a problem, always causing a headache. Maybe if you're on dates and you're like a very maybe you're a big complainer, maybe you are a bit negative and carrying a lot of heavy energy onto dates. This is all really bad energy and gives a really bad heavy first impression, and that's what you want to avoid. You want to instead create the neural pathways in his brain and in your brain that you have created a lot of positive experiences together. You've had a lot of positive communication with one another. He sees you as a classy, poised, elegant, very smart, intelligent, and woman, sees you as that kind of woman and knows what time, what is appropriate, what energy is appropriate for each situation. Does that make sense? So you just kind of have to have that female wisdom of knowing when you can say things, who you can say things to, when to turn off, more of your masculine energy. And there's a lot of nuances to this, and I'm not going to get too much into this, but just having that female wisdom to show, to know when you can let things trigger you and affect you, and when is it appropriate, it's an appropriate time to put those things aside and just let it be. Okay. And let me give you an example of this is when you're on a romantic date with a guy who is wanting to provide a pleasurable experience for you. Maybe he's taking you to a new restaurant that you've been wanting to try, and provide you with this yummy, delicious food. Maybe this food is a bit more like of a fine dining experience. Maybe you are getting dressed up or whatever, but you bring all of this heavy energy into the date and you're talking about your ex, which, by the way, goes back to my first point, is that you end up unknowingly talking about your ex. I don't know if I had mentioned this, but you end up talking about your ex in your dating experiences if you are dating when you are unhealed. Okay. Anyways, it's just not energy that you want to carry on to a new guy. Okay. You need to keep that to yourself. That's more of an intimate, that's more something that somebody can know when they get to know you more intimately, when they get to, when they win that part of you. Okay. So anyways, I don't know where I was, but, oh yeah, the example. So he took you to this nice restaurant and you dressed up really nice. But then you go into the date, being really insensitive and, talking about how the food is really cold and you're just not pleased with anything, or you don't like the lighting in the room, whatever it is. This is a more sensitive time for a guy because he is trying to present to you a lovely meal and a pleasurable experience for the both of you in order to communicate and talk and share food and share laughter and conversation together. And you are just being insensitive by complaining about things that really just don't matter. Okay. Does that make sense? So just learn when you need to turn off that negativity during more sensitive times. And then you will allow yourself to create those positive dating experiences for your guy, and he will feel more encouraged in his advances, his future advances towards you. I hope you're following along. I know that was a mouthful. I actually just did a live on TikTok and explained a lot of this. So if you're not following me on there, make sure that you are following me. I hope that made a lot of sense to you. Of course, if you have any further questions about maybe some of your dating and relationship experiences, please do send me an email or a DM. Any of my platforms, you can reach me, and I will gladly get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, if you are, whether you are in the season of dating or not dating, which is perfectly fine. If you feel like you just don't want to date right now because maybe you just want to focus on yourself and you just need to get more comfortable with it, perfectly fine. I've been through that season myself as well, but my dating course has a lot of valuable information in there to help get you, navigate you through that. It can help you feel more comfortable and less intimidated by the whole dating scene. I know that dating is so chaotic and so confusing for men and women both right now, and it's just a madhouse out there, excuse me. So we have to understand these roles and energy dynamics in order to best communicate with our opposite sex, our counterpart. And so I have a lot of valuable information on there in that course for you ladies, in getting to feel more comfortable and less intimidated by the very dog eat dog dating world. It helps you to understand, why you even need a man in the first place. And needing a man is almost like a foreign concept for highly masculinized women today. We are so conditioned to do A, B, and C, everything by ourselves. We can pay all our own bills. We provide our own housings. We go out and hunt for our own food. We cook, everything that we do, especially when we've been so trained to be single for a long, long time. It can be really hard to rework that muscle of depending on someone and needing a man again and feeling that deep need for a man. And so I do explain in a video lesson of why you need a man. And I will say this as well, is that it is nearly impossible to feel and experience the fullness of your femininity, of your femaleness, as a single, let me say this. It is nearly impossible to experience the fullness of your femaleness when you are not in relation with masculine energy. And this doesn't have to mean just romantic relationships, although that takes you to the highest tier of femininity. But even if you just don't have any male energy around you, maybe you've had a really estranged relationship with your father, maybe you just don't really have a lot of masculine energy around, you cannot feel the fullness. You can't experience what true femininity feels like. And so this course is really going to help you in sorting that out and gaining a sense of self-awareness throughout that journey. Whatever your outcome is, whether you want to take a season off of dating or not, this course has a lot of valuable information for you. And like I was saying in my live as well, you need to know this information before you jump into a marriage and become a wife. And I know I say this on here a lot, but people think that just because you are not married that you don't know how to be a wife, and that's absolutely not true at all. Most people that jump into relationships are just in relationships on autopilot, leaning off of the information that they were taught as a child, modeled information that they acquired from their role models of parents and role models of relationships that they grew up around. And so we actually don't know a lot of this information and the skills that it takes to have healthy relationships with the opposite sex. I know I'm rambling in here, but I just want to help you understand these things, that you need to really go into it with knowledge, with a certain skill set, with a certain heart posture in order to be successful in it. The best thing that I ever did was learning all of this information and gaining a sense of clarity within myself, because I had a lot of questions about things around me. And so once I started to really learn masculine and feminine dynamics, everything really did a 360 for me and made so much more sense. So that's why you need to acquire the information before you actually become a wife. Develop yourself now in your single season in becoming a wife before you ever even become a wife. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to shut up now, and as you guys hear me say all the time, DM me or email me if you have further questions. And until the next video, I will talk to you soon. Bye.